Hello everyone. Today we're going to be starting with HTML. This is a new project of mine. I am learning HTML from the very beginning, from scratch, and I'm taking you guys along on this journey with me. So, don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thanks. Okay, so HTML is basically a hypertext. It stands for Hypertext Markup Language. As you can see, markup is bold and underlined because it's not a programming language, it's a markup language, and there's a difference. But I always say programming language, so if I make a mistake and say programming language instead of markup language in the near future, please don't correct me. I know it's wrong, it's just a habit. And as you can see here, this is the logo for HTML. Also, it's not really important that you memorize what it stands for. It's just to know. So basically, HTML is used to create web pages and web documents. You can pause and read the picture on the left for yourself, but basically the picture on the right is a very simplified example of what you can do with HTML. It's basically you just make a website and you do things like that, like the heading, the paragraph, and stuff like that. It's just very simple stuff. And then with CSS, you design a little bit more, and with JavaScript, you make it like move around and stuff like that. You make it like more cool. But HTML is the base; it's the foundation. So that's why we're starting with HTML now, and then we're gonna be learning JavaScript and CSS and React and all that stuff later down the road. So to get started coding, you can start with codepen.io. This is an online coding environment, and you can use it to code in HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I don't know what else. I don't know if you can do other languages as well, but these are the languages that I know you can use with this website. But if you want to get more serious and save your work and have an offline environment, you can use Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is an app that is very known in the programming world. You've probably heard of it before. This is the logo for it, as you can see next to the name up on the top right of the page. It's a very nice environment. You can use it to run many different languages, and it's just great. Everyone uses it, everyone loves it. And you can install whatever extensions you want for Visual Studio Code. But first, I'd like to show you codepen.io. So, if you write codepen.io in your web browser, you'll come to this page. When you come to this page, you can click on Start Coding, and you have your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You can also change the view, and then you can move this around. So if you want to focus on HTML for now, you can write all your HTML here and it'll show up here. As you can see, this is what your website would look like basically. But if you want to be more serious, like I said, it's better to go to Visual Studio Code. I actually don't have it downloaded, so we're going to be doing that now. We don't need this anymore. Leave this. So you're going to want to write Visual Studio Code in your browser, or just VS Code like I did, and then click on the first thing that pops up. Download for Windows, or if you have Mac, you download for Mac, and then it'll start downloading. Once it finishes, you're going to want to click on it. I accept. Next. Next. Next, I want to start it, so yes, create a desktop icon. Next, install. Finish, and it starts. So here is the main page. You're gonna want to click on new text file. File, new file, and then we're gonna put HTML course And there you go. So before we get started with the HTML course, I want to get some extensions. So as you can see, we have two extensions that I want to add, and it's one of them is live server. So you go to this tab, click on the tab, and then type in live server. Okay, so basically this helps, as you can see here, it lets us see our code working on the website. So you can see it like in live time without having to refresh and all that stuff. So click on install and it installs. So it's by this guy that has 35 million downloads, so you can't miss it basically. Okay, so it's installed. Next, we're gonna wanna install Mithril, Emmet. I think it's this one, yeah. So this helps you code a lot quicker by supporting your syntax. So basically by the time you type in anything, it's just gonna continue it for you. Okay, moving on. In the Explorer right here, you have an untitled workspace, so you click on it. I already have a folder and I named it HTML course. So here you're gonna wanna create a new file and then say index.html and then enter. And then here you can start coding with HTML. A great thing about one of the extensions we just added is if you put an exclamation mark and then click enter, you have this. And here you can see, wait, hold on, how do I zoom in? Okay, so you're gonna wanna click on settings and then, here, and then click on settings, and then it'll take you to here, and then you're gonna click on workspace, go to font size, and there you have it. So we'll go back to this. Let's just exit out of here. You can see that it's bigger. So here is where the code is. This is where you start programming in HTML. You don't need to know what all of this means just yet, but you will soon in the upcoming videos. But as an introduction, to start coding with HTML, you just open the HTML tag. By the way, everything here in the between all these angled brackets, as you can see, they're all called tags. So here you have an HTML tag. It opens and closes from the beginning of the code till the end of the code. Everything in between is part of the HTML code. So to start coding with HTML, like I said, you open, type HTML, and then close it. This is not really that important. It's just specifying that the language is in English. And then at the end, when you want to close it, you just type the same thing, but with a / right before the word. Same thing with body. Body, you open it by just typing body between the angled brackets, and then you close it by doing the same thing, but with a / in the middle. So if you right click on here, and then you click on open with live server, so after you open it, you'll see that it pops up over here, and you'll see that it's an empty web page. And it's empty because here we have nothing in the body. But if you type hello, you get hello. This is my first HTML website. And there you go. As you can see, you started coding in HTML. This is my first HTML website. So I hope you enjoyed this brief introduction. I will be going in more in depth a little more in the upcoming videos, but this is just a brief introduction. So if you enjoyed and if you learned something, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for future HTML and programming videos. And thank you. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another HTML video. Today's video is going to be more of an introduction, like a second introduction to HTML. I'll be going more in depth, and about the things that we already covered and adding a little more. So without further ado, let's get started. First of all, to start any HTML document, web page, you should start with HTML, and that's with angled brackets. So each element in HTML should have opening angle brackets and closing. So this is the closing because it has the forward slash, and this is the opening because it doesn't have a forward slash. HTML is basically the structure of a web page. To style it and make the looks and appearance a little better and add more colors and style to it, you need to learn CSS and implement CSS with it. To add functionality, you learn JavaScript and you implement that as well into the website. Each word in between the angled brackets is known as a tag. This is a tag, this is a closing tag. This is an opening tag, and this is a closing tag. So in between tags is where you have some content, which is, in this case we have HTML, so in between that we're going to have the rest of our web page. One important tag is the head tag. And the head is basically a tag that represents information about the web page. And in the head tag you can have a title tag, and the title tag is basically just the title of the web page. So I'll show you here, title, and let me just open with live server. As you can see, as of right now, everything is empty. There's nothing special about this. But then in the title, you could type my first website and then save. And then as you can see over here, the title changed. You can also have a body. So the body is basically what you want to display to the user. So after you open the body tag, you can just type whatever you want, like hello, please sub, and then you save it and it shows up there. And you can also, as you can tell, it's a bit small, so you can play around with the size by adding H1. H1 is basically the biggest text size, so as you can see, it's a bit bigger. And then 2 is a bit bigger, or a bit smaller, sorry. And H6 is the smallest. So as you can see, they get smaller and smaller. In HTML, you're going to hear about elements. Elements are basically just from one angled bracket opening to the other. So this whole thing is the title element. This whole thing is the head element. This whole thing is the body element, and this is the HTML element. As you can see, you could even close the head element. You can open them up by each element just to hide the content inside of it. Basically, if you have a really long code, it just makes it easier to move around. There's also the paragraph, which is the P element, and it's basically just for more text. So if you want to display some sample text, you just type this abbreviation and then press tab and then control save, and there's some sample text for you just to get an idea of it. And then there are basically 3 small things that I want to add. One is the line break. So line break is basically just line break. It just adds a space between the 2 lines. So as you can see here, if you type BR and then save, there's a line break. And then as you can see here, you save this, and then there are more line breaks in between each one. The second thing I want to show you is the horizontal rule, which is HR. So to do it, you just basically type HR and then save, and then you have it right there. And as you can see, for both of these, for the HR and for the line break, you only need an opening tag. You don't need a closing tag like for the head or for the title. You just need an opening tag, and that's all. And the last thing I want to show you is the comment. So in each language, programming language, whatever, there is a comment feature. So in HTML, basically it's just, this is the syntax for it. This is a comment. So you have an angled bracket, exclamation mark, and then 2 dashes, and then on the other side you have 2 dashes and an angled bracket to close it off, and that's it. And everything in between is a comment. As you can see, if I save, it doesn't show at all over here. Let's just remove that because it's ugly, and that's all. So thank you for tuning in this video today. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more HTML and web programming content. Hello everyone, in this new video we're going to be talking about hyperlinks in HTML. So a hyperlink is basically just some piece of text that you can click on and it'll take you to another page or a website. So to get started, it's pretty easy. All you need to do is have a word, and you basically just surround it with the letter A. So here we have the letter A. Let me just save this. As you can see, it shows nothing, and then you just type hyperlink, or you can type whatever you want and it shows up. And currently it does nothing because there's nothing linked to it. So you could change this to Google, and inside of A you can complete the rest of the URL. So you use href equals to, and then you just type the URL for Google, and there you have it. So as you can see, if I click here, it goes to Google. You can also do some other things with it, set some attributes basically. Target equals underscore blank will take you to another blank page, but the default is self. So whether you have self or not, it will do the same thing, which is just basically use the same page as the target. So it'll just switch this one. And then last but not least, the title. The title is just what shows up when you hover on the hyperlink. So as you can see, this is Google. This is the only thing that's going to show. So you could just delete all of this. This is Google. You can also do something else. So if you want to hover to another or move to another page that's in the same file, you can do what I'm about to show you. It's basically just a lot easier than having to type the URL for every single page. So basically all you do is create a new file, page2.html, and then if you type exclamation mark and then tab, it basically just makes a whole new HTML document, just so you could type in the body. It makes it a lot easier than having to type all this out all over again. So this is page 2. So you move back here, and here you can just set page2.html. Since it's already in the same file, so you don't need to write the whole URL for it. Page 2 link, and then page 2. So here you have page 2. You can also change the size of it. It takes you to page 2 as soon as you click on it. And if you want to make it so that it's goes to a new page, you just change this to blank. And if you want to keep it in the same page, then you type self, or you just delete all of this, and the default is self. You can also do another thing, which is you can set the hyperlink to email you or someone. So here, email, and then over here you just change it to mail to, and then the email. So hello123@gmail.com. So as you can see here, it says email. You can change it to email me if that's your real email, and then you click on it. So you click on it, and as soon as you click on it, it'll start loading up the mail. And there you have it. This is basically all you need to know about hyperlinks in HTML. You can use hyperlinks with words, just like here with text, or you can use it with images. You can click on an image or whatever comes to mind. You can get creative with it, and we're gonna learn more about them in the future. So thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another HTML video. In this video we're going to be talking about inserting images into your web document. So to insert an image, you have to do first things first, which is here I have the folder for the project, and inside of it, just to make things a little tidy, I added an images folder, and in the images folder I have an image. So as you can see, it's called IMG, and it's a JPG file. So you don't have to do this. You can just keep the picture in here in the main project folder, but I just did this for organization in case we want to be adding extra pictures in the future, just to make things, but just to show you, if it's in the project folder, this is what you do. IMG, and that's the opening tag, and in the opening tag you put src, which is source, equals, and then you just put the name. So as you can see, it just fills it out for you, img.jpg, and then it's a self-closing tag. You can also add on to it. So for example, you can change the, hold on, let me just show you what it looks like. Right now, this is what it looks like. It's just a picture. You can change the height of it, say 100 pixels, save, it's smaller. And just a reminder, if you change the height only, the width will change proportionally. Same thing, if you change the width only, the height will change proportionally. But you can change both if you want. So say, let's make this 400, and then it just becomes wider, but you don't really want that, so you just keep it how it is, and then say height is 300. You can also add some alternative text. Alternative text is basically just text that is read out loud by your screen reader if you have one. So you don't really need it. It's not that important, but it's just good to have. It's just good practice. So you can say this is a Fortnite picture. And then you can also add a title to it, just like with the hyperlink. And a title is basically just a small pop-up box that shows up when you hover your mouse over the thing. So here we have Google. See, it says go to Google, that's the title. Here, if you save, picture. That's all, but to add on to it, I want to show you how to do the folder thing. So if you move this to the images folder, as you can see, it's gone. So if you save, it's just gone. So here's what you do. You precede the image name with images, which is the folder that it's in, and then img.jpg. So / and then the folder that it's in, and then the name of the picture. Save, and there it is again. One last thing, you want to make this picture a hyperlink. Here's what you do. You just surround it by a, and then inside of the opening tag, href, and then you put the URL for the website you want to go to. So in this case, we're going to be using my YouTube channel. So here we have the URL for my YouTube channel. So if you save, you have picture, you have this picture, it shows up, and then you have the title that says picture, and then as you can see, you can click on it, whereas before you couldn't click on it. So now if you click on it, it takes you straight to my YouTube channel. You can see my other channels here. You can also target equals underscore blank, and if you do that, then it'll open a new tab instead of using the same tab. If you change it to self, it'll just use, wait, sorry, I didn't save. If you change it to self, it'll just use the same tab. That's all for images in HTML. I hope you guys learned something new. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another HTML video. In this video, we're going to be going over audio in HTML. So to get started, you're going to want to have some kind of audio. It could be a .wav file or a .mp3 file. In my case, I'm using an mp3 file. So you can just head over to the YouTube audio library and download any one of these. There are like lots of sounds to choose from. I chose to download this, and then after you download it, you're going to want to move it from the downloads folder to your HTML folder. And now that it's there, you can get started with the audio. So to start off, you open the audio tag, and it's a self-closing tag, so you don't need to open and close it. You just need to open it, and that's all. Unless you're going to do more things with it, then that's where it gets complicated, and you're going to want to add a closing tag. That probably made no sense, but I'll explain later. So there are a couple Boolean attributes that we're going to go over for audios, but to get started, let's just add the audio first. So after you open the audio tag, you can put in the source. So src equals, and then you have the name of the track. So Lawrence.mp3. You just type the name of it exactly how it is here, or how it is like in your folder, and then .mp3 as the extension, and then you just close it. As for the first Boolean attribute, you're going to want to have to add the controls. So you just type here controls and then save, and as you can see, it pops up, and you can turn it on and off as you want. There are other Boolean attributes such as autoplay. So basically, as soon as you load up the website, it's gonna autoplay. So as you can see, and then there's another one which is muted. So basically, as soon as it starts off muted, and then you have to unmute it. So save. As you can see, it's already playing, but it's muted. And then last one we're going to be going over today is loop. Loop is basically after it ends, it's just going to start over again. So you save. Let's see if it loops. 351, 52, 53, and it starts over again, so it works. There's also another way you can approach this, which is with the opening and closing tags, and you can add like more than one source for one file. So let me demonstrate that. To approach this in a different way and a cleaner way, if you're going to be using different types of files. So here we have an mp3 file. Maybe you're going to also add a WAV file, so that if someone can't play an mp3 file, they can play the WAV file. Here's what you do. You move this down here, and you close this, and you just leave it alone, and then you come down here and you add an angled bracket, source, and then src, and then the name of the file, and then you close the audio tag there. So to add more, you simply just do this, and then say here you put .wav file, and there you go. You have two different files, and it's only showing one right now because we're using mp3 and it works. So yeah. And then you can also display some kind of message. So if this doesn't show up, then if neither of these show up, this message can show up, which is something like this. So basically, if it doesn't show this one or this one, it'll show this one. It'll show the message, and the user will know that the problem is from their side, not yours. So that's it for today. As an assignment for you to practice some more, I want you to add an audio clip just like this onto another page, and then create a hyperlink to go to it, and set it to whatever you want. Set it to whatever Boolean attributes you want. So controls, autoplay, muted, loop. And thank you very much for watching. The code will be posted in the comments as usual, and have a great day. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video of HTML. In this video I'm going to be going over videos in HTML. So in the previous videos we went through an introduction, and then we went through hyperlinks, and then images, and then audio, and in this video we're going to be going over videos. So videos in HTML are the way you put them into your web page is very similar to images and audio. So if you don't understand something, you might want to go back to my previous 1 or 2 videos and see how I put the audio or the images. It's pretty easy, but without further ado, let's get started. So to start off, of course, you open the video tag, and of course the video tag is self-closing, so you don't need the closing tag always, but if you're gonna have it in another file and you're gonna add more features and other video file types, then you might want to open and close and put all that stuff in the middle, but that's for another video. Now let's just focus on the basics. So you open it, and then of course HTML continues everything for you. Here's the syntax, and in source you type your video. So here I have a meow sound effect video, so you put meow sound effect.mp4 and then save, and it's there. To add more features to it, like the boolean attributes we talked about before, you're gonna want to move this down. Let's go source, and then put that down, and you close that. And in the first opening tag you put the attributes. So first of all, you have controls to be able to turn it on and off. Let's save that. Save. And as you can see, you have the controls, download, playback speed, all that stuff. You can turn it on and off from here. And then you can add muted. So as we said before in the audio, muted is basically when you load up the web page, it starts off muted. So you save it. As you can see, it's muted. It's not. If you delete this, it's by default not muted. But if you put that, then by default it stays muted until you unmute it yourself through the controls. And then you can also do one more thing, which is loop. So save. Let's start it, and it keeps looping and looping and looping until you stop it. You also have autoplay. So as you can see, as soon as you I loaded up the page, it played automatically, and I had muted turned off, so let me turn that back on, and it kept looping through it. And then that's basically it for videos in HTML. If you enjoyed or learned something new, please like and subscribe for further content, and thank you again. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about text formatting in HTML. So to get started, you're going to need a couple of paragraphs, and in between the paragraphs is where the magic happens, and I'll show you after I type them all out. Okay, so as you can see here, I have all the text written out, and to edit the text and make it and format it the way you want it to be formatted, basically you have to surround the words with the corresponding tags. So for bold, if you want the text to be bold, you put B. Sorry, it's supposed to be lowercase b. So here it's bold. And I'll do the same for the rest, and just to show you. Okay, so I took the time to do all of it, and so this is normal text. As you can see, it's just normal text. Bold text, as you can see, what is surrounded by the B tags is bold over here, and same goes for italic with the I, and then big is for big, small is for small, sub is for subscript, and sup is for subscript or superscript, sorry, and INS is for inserted, which I like to think of it as underlined, and DEL is deleted, as you can see, but I like to call it strike through. And then we have marked or highlighted. It's marked, but I like to think of it as highlighted because that's what it is. And that's basically it for text formatting in HTML. If you learned something new, please like and subscribe for more, and thank you. Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be going over lists in HTML. So in HTML, we have three types of lists: unordered list, ordered, and description lists. So for the first list, we're going to be going over the unordered list. So to start off, this is not important, by the way, it's just to specify, just so you don't get confused. So to start off, you need a UL tag, which is unordered list tag. So UL, and then open and close it, and then in the UL you have to put the list tags, so LI, and then there's your first list element. So say we're gonna have maybe different types of cars. So here we have sports cars, and then let's just copy paste this, sports cars, and then exotics, and then say trucks maybe, and then muscle cars. And you can actually put a list within a list. So first, let me just show you this. So this is the list. It's unordered. As you can see, it has bullet points, which is, it's in any order, it doesn't matter. But then you can put a list within a list. So for, say you want to specify more muscle cars, different types of muscle cars, so you go ahead and put another UL tag, and there you put the list tags. So say Camaro, Corvette, Mustang, and Challenger. So save, and then as you can see, the muscle cars we have are these. Moving on, ordered lists. So for ordered lists, it's just OL tag, and within the OL tag, again, you have the LI tag. And say for the ordered list, we need a list of things to do to make money by buying and selling cars. So first, you would buy a cheap car, and then and then after you buy the cheap car, maybe you would paint and fix it, and then list it on the market, and then sell and make money. Save, and as you can see, it's in order 1, 2, 3, 4. Last but not least, we have the description list. So we have DL tag, as you probably have guessed, and then with the DL tag we have the DT tags for the lists, and then so DT is the title and DD is the definition or the description. So say muscle cars, and here you would have the DD. So big V8 engine with a mean rumble. And then let me just exotic cars. They are fast and light. And then for say trucks, say they're heavy and good for towing. Save, and then as you can see we have muscle cars with their definition, exotic cars with their definition, trucks with their definition. So that's all we have today for lists. We have unordered, ordered, and description lists, and it's pretty simple and straightforward on how the syntax for them works. If you learned something new, please like and subscribe and stay tuned for next time. Hello everyone, and welcome back to yet another HTML video. In this video we're going to be going over tables in HTML. So to get started with a table, you need to type out the table tags, the opening and closing tag. So I've already done that. I have a heading. So basically this is just the name of the table. The idea for this video is to create a table for the operating hours of a gym. Save it, and it's just an empty table for now. So in the table we need to have two rows, one for the data and one for the days. So you start off with TR, which is table row. You have one row, and let's just copy and paste. And so with each row we need a table heading, which is TH. And here we're going to write out the days of the week. So here we have the days of the week. For each day we need to have some hours underneath it to show the time. So for each cell there's a TD tag. So the TD tag is table data. So this one is for the first one. So here we type, say it's closed on the weekend, so closed. And then for the other days, say for Monday, we want it to be open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then same for all other days. And then it's closed again on Saturday. And that's basically it for how to make a table in HTML, but you can add some more things to the table. So for the table, we can have a background color, which is BG color, and that equals to, say, black. We want to have a black background, sorry. And then you can edit the width of it. So width equals to, say, 1000 pixels. Save, and it's completely dark. So you can change some things around to fix that. For the row, we can have BG color, background color, equals to gray. And so now we can see the days of the week. And for the next row, we can have background color equals to light gray. Save that, and you can see it much better now. For the table heading, you can also change the table heading and make the width of it different. So say we want to make it 100. Save that, and it's different now. For Sunday only, as you can see, all the other days are much bigger than Sunday. So you can copy paste, save that, and then they're much bigger now. For this row, you can also align the words, so you can have the text on the left, right, or center. Here you type align center, and as you can see, that data is now in the middle, whereas before it wasn't. And that's basically it for tables in HTML. If you want to practice, I'll give you a practice assignment, which is remake a table for the operating hours of a store near you, and try to do it without looking at this code or the code that you've typed before. Just do it from scratch. All you need to know are the table opening and closing tags, the table tags, the table row tags, the table heading, and the table data tags. And that's really all you need to do. And then in the tag itself, if you want to change the background color, you just add BG color for rows, table, whatever it is. And you can then change the width around, the length, you can align it. So that's your assignment if you want to practice some more. If you learned something new, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another HTML video. In this video we're going to be going over colors. Now this is more of a CSS than an HTML thing, but I want to introduce colors now so that we can use them later for the future videos like buttons and forms and things like that. So to start off, I have a couple h1 tags and we can change the color of that, but actually before I start with that, I want to start with the background of the website. So to do that, you go to body, to the beginning of the body, and there, that's where you type style, and that's the attribute, and you set the background color, and you can just choose whatever you want. I want to choose white smoke since it doesn't have that much of a difference. So you save that and it changed, but let me just show you that it worked because you can't really see. Red, save, so there you go. So let's save this instead. So white smoke, and then you go down to your h1 tags. You can do this for anything, paragraphs, h1 tags, h2 tags, whatever, any kind of text, right? So here you can set this to style again, and then not background color but color, and the first choice you have is using one of these colors, or you can type them out. So maybe you want blue, and save that, and as you can see it turned blue. Or you can use RGB values. So to do that, again, same thing, style equals, and then double quotes, and then RGB, and then parentheses, a pair of parentheses, sorry. So, and then with that, you just gotta put in the RGB values, and it's 3 numbers. You can choose a color picker for this. So here, say you want like this color. Sorry. You just copy this and you paste it right here, and you go back here and you save. Sorry, I forgot to put color, so you gotta put color and then RGB and save, and there you go. Same thing here, style, and the third choice you have, so first you can write the name, second you can do the RGB values, and third you can do the hexadecimal values, which you can see right here. It starts with a hashtag, and then let's say actually we want maybe this color. So you copy this and you paste it here after you color, and then save, and as you can see it works. So I like to use RGB values or hexadecimal values because you can kind of you have a lot more variety, right? You can choose the exact shade you want, and you can also play around with it if you're using Visual Studio Code, as I am right here. But if you're not, or if you're not sure, or you just want to get it immediately, you can just use a color picker online, like in Google, and you can actually change both the background and the color of the text. So to do that, let's say we want to change the background of this paragraph. So in the P tag you put style, and then with style background color, and then you can change it to, say, let's just say black, and then you have to put a semicolon, and after the semicolon again color, and you can choose whatever you want. Let's just choose this again, and there you go. So if you learned something new, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for future HTML videos. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another HTML video. In this video we're going to be talking about spans and divs. So span adds markup to text or portion of a document, whereas div defines a division of a document. So I know it sounds scary, but just bear with me, it's really simple. So we're going to start off with div. As for div, you just start off with div, and you have an opening tag and a closing tag. So the opening tag is the beginning of the division and the closing tag is the end of the division. So we would like to define from here to here as the division, and that's how you do it. But then to do things to it, you add style, and that is another CSS property, but we can use it in HTML, as you can see. Background color, and then you can set the background color to whatever you want. I'll set it to 444444, which is dark gray. And there you go. We have a division from here to here. These two paragraphs are, the background of the paragraphs is dark gray. And if you move this here, and you'll see that it's only this division right here. But we don't want that, we want the whole thing. So I'm going to delete this and turn it back to here. Oh, it's not working. And there you go. So moving on, you can do span. Span is just for text. So as you can see, I'll show you right here. So you have the opening tag and the closing tag, and it works just like the div. So let's say we just want this sentence right here. So the span is from here to here. So with this span, we would like to style it. And for the style, we want the color to be, say, red. Save. And then this sentence only is red. And then you can also just do the same thing, say we just want to highlight this last word, so span and then say style, and we can just color it whatever we want. Let's say aqua, and there you go. So that's it for span and divs in HTML. If you learned something new, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for future HTML and computer science videos. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another HTML video. In this video, we're going to be going over meta tags in HTML. So for meta tags are basically tags that represent metadata, and metadata is data about data. So this is kind of confusing at first, but I'll explain and you'll get the hint with a couple examples. So for the first example, we have description. So you start by opening the meta tag, and in the meta tag, it's a self-closing tag, so you don't need an opening and closing tag. So just the meta tag, and in the meta tag, you type name and description. So in the description, that's where you have, after the description, you have the content. And for content, it's basically what your website is about. The description is what your website is about, and content is where you where you put in. So basically, this is the variable, and this is what you're storing in it. Kind of like that, it's not exactly a variable, but just to help you understand. So in description, what you want the description to be is, say, how to build muscles. Okay, and then you have a couple other meta tags. So for the next one, we have keywords. So for keywords, here you would type your keywords, which are, say, bodybuilding, muscles, beginners, I guess. How to build muscles for beginners. So next, we have author, and author is just simple. It's just who's the author of it. So that's me. So my name is Yusuf. We type that here, and next we have, what do we have next? We have viewport. Viewport is how the content is viewed on devices. So for viewport, content equals width dash, no, sorry, equals device dash width. And we're gonna set the initial scale to 1.0. And last but definitely not least, you've been seeing it refresh, so you might know what's coming up next, and it's, let me just, meta equals http equiv equals refresh. And for content is basically how long you want it to take before it refreshes. So say you want it to take 3 seconds. So let me just close the tag and save it. And every 3 seconds it'll refresh. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And there you go. So that's it for meta tags in HTML. Meta tags are basically tags that represent data about data, and here we have a couple description, keywords, author, viewport, and refresh. And yeah, there's actually one more meta tag that I wanted to talk about, which is charset. So charset is for character encoding. It is encouraged to use UTF-8, and you can use ASCII, but it's kind of discouraged. But if you wanted to use ASCII here, you would type ASCII as so, but you don't want that, you want UTF-8. That's it for meta tags in HTML. If you liked the video or learned something new, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for future computer science and HTML content. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another HTML video. In this video, we're going to be going over iFrames in HTML. So iFrames are used to embed content from another source into an HTML document, and it's commonly used for ads, advertisements, and hacking. So there are two ways you can approach this. One is to have a web document in your file so that you can use it, or you can direct the user to a web document that's not here from another website like Google or YouTube or whatever. So to get started, you start with the opening tag, and it's a self-closing tag, so you don't need to close it. It's just an opening tag, and it starts with iframe, and then you embed the rest. So iframe, and you don't need all this extra stuff, you don't need that. So source src equals, and then here is where you list the source. So there are some things like Google that don't work, and I'll show you now. So as you can see, it says google.com refused to connect, but if you use something like Bing, for example, and you have it there, it works. So there are some attributes that you can add, like for example the width, and you can set that to 750 to make it a little wider. Save and refresh, and there you go. And then you can also set the height. So height equals 100. Save that, refresh, and you change the height. And this actually has a border. You can't really see it right now, but if you want to take the border away, you just use the style attribute from CSS, and that is style equals border 0. Save and refresh, and you can't really see it right now, but it's gone, and I'll show you proof of that later. Okay, the next way you can approach this is by adding a new file, and then let's call it advertisement.html, and then in the body, let's put an h1 tag, and say this is an ad, and there you have an advertisement, a fake one I guess. And then here, instead of typing all this, you just link the source, which is advertisement.html. You can also style it, so let's do that. So within the body tag you put the style and set the background color, my bad, to say light steel blue I want, and then you save that. And then as you can see, when I refresh and save, we get the ad at the bottom, and that's just basically it. So as I said, I'm going to show you about the border. So if I delete this right here and then I save and I refresh, you can see the border, right? You can see it right here. And then if I put it back, you'll see the difference. It's gone. So that's just the small proof I had for you guys. And as for the hacking techniques, this is used in hacking techniques because, as you saw, I had the Bing frame, and if I make the Bing frame big enough to cover my whole web page, I can pose as another website. So say if I use a bank instead of Bing, then you might think that this is the actual bank website, and you'll enter your credentials, and I can save your credentials from my web document, which is the fake bank, and then I can have your bank credentials saved, and I can log in and steal your bank info or steal your money or whatever. And this is just one example. Another example can be like any kind of, like username and password type thing, or many others, like of course hackers are a lot more creative than me at the moment, but yeah, that's how it's used in hacking techniques. That's just a small example. But yeah, so that's it for iFrames in HTML. You can use them to link another website like we used Bing, or another web document like we used the advertisement over here. So if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for next time where we discuss more HTML and computer science content. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another HTML video. In this video we're going to be going over forms in HTML. This is probably going to be the last video for HTML that I make in a while. I'll probably move on to CSS after this, or upload more Python videos, but without further ado, let's get started. So to start with the forms, you need the help of a functional programming language, like for example PHP. So for the first division, we have a label. Within the label, it's for fname. So this is what the label is called, first name. And then for the input, the type is text, because we're going to be typing our name, which is letters, so that's text. So the ID is name, fname. And you can add a placeholder, or you can just not put this at all. But for placeholder, you can just put, like, for example, will. I don't know, that's the first thing that came to mind. And then required. So you can set this to required, so that if the person doesn't type anything, then it will show like a warning message or like an error message or something. You'll see. And basically do the same thing for the last name. So I just copy pasted it, and then here you have lname, and here same thing, lname, and then here you change this first to last name, and placeholder will be Smith. We have password. So label for here is pass, and then you name it password. This is the part that actually shows up to the user. So password, input type, password, and the ID is pass, and you can set the max length. So if you don't want their password to be too long, you can set it to something like 12, and then it's required. Moving on. After that, we have email. So label for email, and then here, same thing, you name it email. This is the part that shows again. Type email, ID email. And no placeholder. Actually, for the placeholder, you can give it something smart, like say 123@gmail.com, just to, as an example. And then next we have phone number. So label for phone, and let's name this phone number, and then type tell ID phone. Placeholder, we can set it to 123, and then 456, and then 789. 7890. I forgot that it's 10 numbers. We have birthday, so B date. So this would be date of birth, no placeholder, I guess. And then ID, B date again, type date, because a birthday is a date. Maybe you're shopping, so quantity, it's in caps lock, quantity. Type is number, because it's a number. ID, quantity, and placeholder. Actually, let's set a min and a max for it. So min is 0 and max is, say, 99, but you can set like a standard value, like something that's always there. So value equals to 1, because if you're buying something, it has to be at least 1. So the minimum, I guess, should be 1, and the maximum is 99. Before I go on, let me just add a line break in between these just to make it cleaner. So BR. Okay, this next part is a little complicated, so bear with me. It's a bit confusing at first. So label for title, and we're gonna name this title. And then we have Mr., Mrs., and Doctor. So label again for Mr., close that, and then we're gonna name it Mr. Input, type radio, because we want a radio button, not text or something like that. Something you can just click on and that's all. So ID is equal to Mr. and then name is title, value is equal to Mr. And then let me just copy paste this. And for this, it's Mrs., Mrs., and Mrs. So we have first name, last name, password, email, phone number, date of birth, quantity, and are you a Mr., Mrs., or a doctor? And then let me add 2 more. One is going to be a checkbox, and the other one is going to be a payment type. So let's add a line break. So it's label for payment, and we're going to name it payment details, and then we have a select ID equals to payment. Name is also equal to payment. So we have a couple options. First option is value, and that equals to Visa. Let's call it Visa. And then the second value is MasterCard. And the third value is gift card. I forgot to close this, so that's why. And then you close the select. Save it, and you have payment details, Visa or MasterCard or gift card. The checkbox is not required and there's no placeholder for it. And let's say it is label for subscribe. Let me just copy paste this. Type is checkbox. ID is subscribe. And name is also subscribe. And here we're gonna name it subscribe with a colon. Save that, and you can subscribe or not subscribe, but please do. So last but not least, we have two very simple things, which is, first one is input and type reset. So what this will do is basically it's just a button that will reset everything. And also you have one that submits. Save, and I forgot to add a line break. Okay, so we have first name, that's Yusuf, last name, and then basically you fill all this out and then you can just reset. So if I have anything here, reset, anything here, reset, and then even here, reset. It just resets everything. And then if you try to submit, since this is required, if you try to submit without a first name, it'll tell you please fill out this field. And you can reset and type whatever you want for everything. Birthday, and submit. And as you can see, you need an @.com, submit, and now it lets you, but since that does nothing, it's just gonna give you an error. So please like and subscribe if you learned something new or you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more computer science content.